Okay, we are now live. Hey guys, hey, welcome back everybody to Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom with Carlito and Tom. I have two special guests here tonight. One is my special co-host, beautiful B Moss, and
Oh,
my other is my special guest, which is Anne Christine, and she has many, many interesting things to tell us. I'm gonna pass it over to B Moss and let her take over, guys.
hello,
Hey B.
Cristyne Anne. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight. We're glad to have you here on the show. Basically, Carlito does his shows about cryptids and the paranormal, and so he has plenty of guests on a regular basis on these subjects. So right now, we want you to pretty much get started right into giving us an introduction of yourself. Tell us
Mhm.
what kind of encounters have you had? Have you encountered Dogman, Bigfoot, or tell us about some of your experiences, and then as you go, then we'll go from there. And then even I guess you can talk about your book as well, and then we can kind of lead up into our questions after as you go along.
Okay. First, to give you a little bio, I've been married almost 29 years now to my husband, John. I got four boys: Larry, Josh, Jefferson, and James. Jefferson's birthday was yesterday, so he's 26. Two 27-year-olds and a 23-year-old.
Okay,
So it's kind of a crowded house right now.
that's
Um,
awesome.
I'm a form, I'm a former medic, the author of four books now. It's going to be sent off to the editor next week, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed that we go to the publishing company that we want. This one is different than the others as it has actual pictures of these cryptids.
Oh
Um,
wow.
most, yeah, I sent some to Carlito.
Oh wow.
Brad D. Kidd took the pictures mostly for me. I have a few that are mine,
Mm-hmm.
and they are spectacular. There are a few that are blurry, but I left them that way because I want the reader to be able to make up their own mind,
Right.
you know.
Okay.
Um, and it has a wonderful picture of a Bigfoot that the guy didn't even know he took until he goes, "Hey, look, honey, I took this picture," and she's like, "Why do I think I was trying to get you into the car?" He was standing right there, and she said back to him, or he said back to her, he goes, "I had turned my hearing aids off because you're talking too much."
Oh wow. So
So
let
he
me
did
ask you this.
the
So what you're telling like your book right now, or in your book, are you telling other people's encounters as well as your own?
Yeah, I start off updating where I left off because I never expected to have another Dogman experience. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they said, "Uh-uh, we want to have more experiences," which also led to a Bigfoot encounter. And
Yes.
then we had and then we open and we close the book because those last encounters were not anticipated. So, but
Oh.
in between, we have a whole section of multiple encounters with dogmen, single
Mm-hmm.
encounters, and multiples with Sasquatches, and pictures to go with each story, pretty much, that would match up with that
Absolutely.
story.
Okay.
So we're excited about that. Like I said, Brad D. Kidd and Todd T did amazing jobs. We have cover art for the first time for the book. Um, the cover and the artist, I can't pronounce his name, it's Hungarian, but he did such a spectacular job. They say that you can see little colors every once in a while
Mm-hmm.
with the Dogman, and hit the brightness and everything he showed with that came through, and it really spoke to me. So I chose that one. Um, so that's book 4. It's going to be called The Return of the Dogman. Book 1, which will go to the encounters here shortly, is
Mm-hmm.
about my own personal accounts, the first 4, and as terrifying as they were. And it left
Right.
me going, what are these things? They're not
Mm-hmm.
werewolves. It's physically impossible for a human to turn into a wolf.
Right.
So what are they? And so we started researching. We found um, Vic's show, Dogman Encounters, no, the website. And I contacted him and found a group of people finally like me who had seen them that had similar experiences. And that's how the other books came about from that. The second book is all about the paranormal. And some of those stories are
Okay.
creepy.
Okay. I can imagine. Just let me write that down real quick because I don't want to forget this because there's something I want to tie back together with what you just said about the paranormal in a few minutes. So like on your first encounter with the Dogman, first of all, like you were talking about Dogman, before you ever had a Dogman encounter, did you know that they already existed? Like before I had mine, I knew they existed.
No, I never heard the term in my life. I know that in the Native American tribes and stuff like that, we talk about mystical animals, and that's how I knew what Bigfoot was, Sasquatch. But
right.
I never heard anything about Dogman. It was more Ouija ghosts or Wendigos and Sasquatches. So this was quite a shocker for me to see something like this. Because the first time I decided to go vine swinging with my brother, my younger brother, and the vine and the tree both broke. So I went tumbling down the hill, hit a rock, and at first I was hallucinating because there was this big dog-like creature that looked like a hyena.
Oh.
And it was down on all fours at first, and we had 2 Doberman pinchers, Morgan and Admiral, I think his name was, and they were barking and on and whatnot. And I was talking to it, and I was talking to them, trying to, smooth things over, because it wasn't going good. But it made no advance to come near me, but it stayed until help got there, and then it just disappeared into the forest. But they did find what they thought was a den, and by the time they went back, it was destroyed. It had some animals and local livestock bones, they thought, in it, but no human bones, which is a good sign. The second one was after I got sent down to my granny's house. She asked me to take some food up to one of the neighbors, and I said, yeah, sure. I wasn't intimidated. I was on a totally different mountainside now. And so I went up to deliver the food. Stayed too late. There's always been this local legend about being in before dark. And the street lights had already come on. So I was cruising it back home, And
absolutely.
I got to about just above the post office, I think it was. Started getting a creepy feeling. And as I rounded the post office, about ready to turn into the tricky driveway to get in, or my favorite way to get in, a great big tom turkey went flying over the top of my head like a 747. I mean, literally, it was hit the dirt or get knocked over. And I don't know if you've ever been hit by a turkey, but it's not a pleasant experience.
No. Well, I do have a question for you before you. I know I don't want to interrupt you, so I want to catch it real quick. Now that during that first encounter that you were talking about, before we get too far, I want to bring up. You mentioned about the Dogman that looked like a hyena and was on all fours. Did you say you were out there by yourself when this happened, or did you say other people were out there?
At that point, I was by myself. My brother had gone for help, so I was completely by myself. So it was really scary.
What let you know that, by appearance, what let you know that it wasn't a regular dog? Like, was it? Can you explain the size?
When he stood up on 2 legs.
Oh my God!
What
did you do then?
I peed myself.
I know you did. Oh my God! I would have lost everything. So
I was just like, "What is that thing? Why is it looking at me?" And 2, I thought it was female because it had a bit of a chest, but not like enormous.
Right.
So I know she wasn't fully grown, but when she stood up, she was 6 feet tall at least. Because I was 5 foot. No, I think I was still 4'11" yet. I don't think I topped out yet. I'm only 5 foot. I will say I'm 5'1", but technically I'm not quite there. But I'm just a little bit off, so I lie.
That is so creepy. So when it stood up, what did you do at that moment? Did you take off running? Just stand there and look at you?
I stayed. That is the one thing I don't understand. A lot of these encounters, I stood stock still and could not move until afterwards.
Did you have that whole sense of like where everything goes silent? Did you smell anything, or just how did that feel, or did you not really pay attention to that?
Really stinky. It was really stinky, and it's funny because at the time and in the book, I related it to raw hamburger meat because to me, there's nothing worse than the smell of raw hamburger meat. I just don't like that smell. I know that my readers and people sent me stories compared to metallic smell, new death smell,
Absolutely.
ammonia, wet dog. Wet dog seems to be a
Yes.
popular one. And just pungent. And it can be very, very pungent, like peat moss. If you've ever smelled that. That's crappy stuff. That smells awful. I often wonder what peed on it to make it smell that bad.
It's awful. It almost makes you wonder if they roll around in it. So, all right. So that's all that happened in that encounter. That was your first time seeing them, right? But you also mentioned that who found it? So during that first encounter, did you say they found a den back there in the woods at that time where the den? I mean, where this happened?
Yeah, it was dug into the side of the mountain. It's what I heard. You keep in mind this was 1980 something, and it was the crew who rescued me thought they had seen something, and they went back down. Apparently, they've been having problems in the neighborhood for a while, and so they were trying to get to it. And there was a lot of rumors and stuff, but that's all they were. They had never seen what exactly was causing the problems.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
So there was one person who said they thought they saw a large dog. One thing that's not in the book, or it is, but it's in with the other story. It is that thing tried to get in through the back door.
What is that? One of your that same one, or is this another encounter?
Well, see, we don't know if it was the same one or not because none of us were stupid enough to look out a window. We just know that whatever it was trying to get into the house. So we called my brother at work. Can you come home? And they took the flashlights, not flashlight, floodlight, and they searched the whole yard, and it just took off. They said all they saw was a tail, and that was it. But it was a very high up tail. So that's smart because the front of the house is all towards the road, so it would have been seen. But going in the back where it was, nobody's going to see it. It's completely dark.
Okay.
And I think that's why they chose that area.
It was just you kids there at the house at that time when that happened? When it tried to get in?
Me, his wife, my brother, and his brand new daughter.
What makes what makes you feel like it was one of those creatures that was trying to get in?
Because this one had a totally different feel to it. It was gloom and doom 100%.
And everybody felt the fear.
Everybody felt it. We were hiding out, praying for whatever it was to go away. But we felt pretty sure that's what it was. None of us went to go near a window because we didn't know if it could snatch us or not. If it was on top of the roof, we didn't know exactly where it was. Except for it kept trying to get into the back door, and the dogs are going crazy and stuff like that.
Right.
And the dogs they were being very brave. I hope they know that thing can rip them apart.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, I have a quick question, real quick. Well, not a question, but I just wanted to go over something real quick. And these are the most of you might not know that I pre-interviewed Anne Cristyne, which is aka Ann Kelly, a year ago for Marvin Allen's show. Yeah. And I got, I pre-screened her back when I was moderator. I pre-screened her, and then I got her to come on with Marvin. And she did a great job as well, but it wasn't a visual like right now where she's actually on the camera and all that.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to bring her back. Really, you know what I mean? Because I feel like we missed something. You know what I mean? But yeah. That being said, I did want to ask you real quick. And are you talking about the first 4 Dogman encounters you had?
I was talking
the ones
about
you
that
told
very
on Marvin's show.
One.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and let me add to that. Let me add to that question real quick, since I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. Like B asked me to, which is a great idea. Thank you, B.
Yep, I forget all the time.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, did you get any pictures from your first 4 encounters?
Yes and no. I took them, and my husband erased them off my phone.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh wow.
You did that
you would understand if you read that first book. he had experience that involved personnel. He did not know who they were from or anything, but he thought it would be too much of a risk to keep the folders. So he deleted them off my phone. These ones he can't do it because, well, you need the password now.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the old style of phone.
You don't mess with me and my dragon, okay?
Right.
Just like you don't come between me and a patient. It's stupid. You know, I'm gonna make you pay for it.
Absolutely.
Okay, well,
I take what
yeah,
I do
sorry
very
for that
seriously.
interruption, guys. I just wanted to
Oh no,
ask
it's
that.
no
No, you're
problem.
good.
But you can continue with your encounters.
Okay, so we're on the second one, and like I said, I went up to give the lady the food. I stayed too late. The woman lived in the 1920s, and she told the most wonderful stories. Now, she was just a little girl, but she lived through the 1920s and 1950s and the Depression. She lived through all that, so she had great stories.
Right.
And like I said, that turkey went across my head, and then I look up from picking myself up from the ground, and there's another one. Also looked like a hyena. Well, he's standing up, and this thing, he was big. We're talking somewhere between 7 feet to 8 feet tall, because I measured it against the tree line because he left marks on the tree line.
Oh wow.
And like we had discussed earlier, and the reason I had asked you about the way they were leaning out, that's all I saw too, the two hands and him peeking out like this.
Mhm.
But that's all I needed to see to decide, goodbye, I'm out of here.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. It was leaning out.
Yeah, he was just leaning out, giving me, and his eyes were the most incredibly. I said they were yellow, but I think hers were the yellow, and his was the blue. If not, it is the other way around. But one of them had the most beautiful blue eyes you've ever seen, and the other one, the yellow, practically stood out. It's just I can't remember which is which now. Whereas with the others, I knew
did she say blue?
Huh?
Yeah, blue.
Yeah, blue.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. I was waiting on
never,
that. I was waiting on that.
I've never, but I had the first one the first and only one, the only one that ever I seen with blue eyes was the first encounter, and I've never heard anybody else other than maybe a few times on YouTube that actually talking about them having blue eyes.
Right.
Were they glowing?
Yeah. They always glow, and it's a bit intimidating, just to see that looking at you, because they're so intelligent. Which I'll get to that in a minute. So I just bolted, and I begged to go home, and that was that. It's just like, I'm done, and I went home to Arizona. For years, everything was quiet, calm. When I was recertifying for EMT, just before I became a medic, I stayed late to help a classmate who was nervous about not about his skill section, but about the actual exam. I had and I wasn't anxious to do either. You know, my ribs hadn't gotten broken yet, so I figured I was in good shape. So I'm driving home late one night, and I heard a deer. But you have to go across the bridge and into the woods to go to my house. It's one of 3 on that block, or at least it was. One burned down. But I'm about ready to go to the last street before crossing that bridge, and I heard a deer flying across the road, and you could tell they're going away from something.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing I know, one of the big bucks just head turn, thumps into my truck. Well, I just assumed he ran into it, but I've been told that's physically impossible. When they run like that, their head locked straight forward. So more than likely, the Dogman, and in this case, it would have had to have been 2, threw him into the truck. And the one I saw reached over, grabbed him off, and then turned an eye towards me. And it was this big red eye in this. I mean, you would have had to see the hands on this thing. It had long 4-inch nails that were curved, and the teeth.
God!
I mean, when it bit down, it sprayed blood all over my truck, and I was like, "Ew, gross." And then he took his kill, and he went one way. I had peed myself. I'm panting. I'm scared. So idiot me, I stick my truck in reverse, and I went back up that hill in reverse.
Oh wow!
That's how serious. I didn't even think, another car coming, something like that. Just he's going across the bridge. I'm going the opposite way. So I called my husband. I said, "Can I stay at your house tonight?"
Right.
And he says, "Yeah, sure." I said, I went there. I locked all the doors on my kids, locked the windows, and I tried to go to sleep. And about the time I was going to sleep, he comes in and he goes, "What's this on your car?" And he had these long blackish hairs. and it was just creepy as hell because it was like it solidified in my head that I saw something. But the biggest disadvantage I had with the all black one with a little bit of silver was it was very dark out because there was no moon. So basically, all I saw was a muzzle, huge teeth with a little bit of blood on them or pinkish stain, and big red eyes. That he actually rolled one at me. It was the creepiest feeling ever. So if you have questions about those two, shoot.
Yes. The red eyes. So I was told by a few people that I've interviewed, like researchers and then just people who've had encounters, that the different eye colors has to do with their mood. What do you think about that? Because you were talking about auras and stuff like that before. So do you get a feeling or a reading off of them? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Each of them gives off a different type of aura, but it's more individualized than that. I've had some bad experiences, but they haven't been with the red eye ones. They've been with the yellow eyed ones. So I've had 2 encounters now with ones that had red eyes, and neither one of them made a move to hurt me. They just, one collected its kill, and the other one was just letting me know, hey, there's a really dangerous predator in the area. And that was it.
Now, during these encounters, did you ever, like a lot of people talk about this, I think I brought this up a few minutes ago about being fearful and stuff like that. But wait, in the majority of your encounters that you had with them?
I was absolutely terrified on the one that we will talk about next because it was on my loft porch. You know, here I am 20 something feet up in the air, and it got up there. It obviously went up a different tree than what I thought it did, which was shocking. It left marks on the door and on the, I took a picture of it too. It ripped off the light. It was a full moon, which just added to the creepiness. It felt like I was living a scene out of Silver Bullet, literally.
Oh,
and this
wow.
thing looked like a werewolf on steroids.
Damn.
It was terrifying. And yet you could tell.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You could tell he wasn't quite yet full grown. He didn't have the mane yet. So I was interested to see what he was going to look like when he was full grown, to a degree.
Okay.
And it wasn't long after that we found my mountain lion dead, and hey, Todd.
Yeah, Todd's in there.
She knows Todd.
Todd's in there.
Yeah, they're good
yeah,
friends.
I do. He's in my book. He gave me 4 great stories. Todd did, and we lean on each other quite a bit.
Well, they
That's
both
amazing.
They both had 4 Dogman encounters. Can you believe that?
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, we might have to talk to Todd next. You already talked to him. Didn't you interview him too, Carlito?
Yeah.
I thought you did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I
well,
did.
Yeah.
So when you were up there on that, you said you was on your bedroom, you was on the roof or the balcony. When this one came up
on the balcony. And this happened just a few weeks after the thing on the road. Me and Grandma stayed up until late watching Josh Brolin movies. She's a huge fan. I am too. We both get the eye candy. We're both looking at that younger man. I just, I have only a month.
I wonder if everybody knows who Josh Brolin is. He's the older brother from the Goonies. The older brother. That's him.
I'm trying to picture. I can't remember him right
because the Thanos, the snap heard around the world. Everybody knows who Thanos is.
You don't remember watching the Goonies, B?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yes. The older brother? The one
I'm trying to remember the older brother.
The one they tie up against the couch or whatever so they can take off? Yeah,
I'm going to Google it and look at it.
Exercising all the time. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And we were watching No Country for Old Men for the 100th time. So, that's my favorite right there.
Oh, I know who you're talking about now. Yeah. Yeah.
And we watched Only the Brave was the last one. So she was on a big kick that night. And we went up to my loft probably about 1 a.m., maybe a little later. I was going to step outside to indulge in my bad habits. And I heard something come up the tree. I ducked back in the house about the time it reached the porch. I'm like, what the heck? Because nothing's going to reach the porch that fast,
Right.
And then I hear this growling, and it just in that moment, you just can't breathe. Because you knew the minute I heard it. Oh my God, that's not a mountain lion. That's not a bear. What the hell is it? It's like,
Hey, Anne, was that during the day or was it nighttime?
it's nighttime. It was 1 a.m. in the morning.
Ooh, that's crazy.
It was prime time for a sighting. And
That's
so
terrifying.
my dogs both wet themselves and took out of the room. A couple of hours, ran down the stairs on me. And my younger dog, you can't get him to go down the stairs by himself. But he was hightailing it. So that told me right there, there's something big out there. And I finally got up enough courage to look. And oh my God, 100 million times I wish I hadn't, because I could not breathe. I opened it up and he's looking back at me and I'm looking at him. Big yellow eyes staring at me. His little brow up in his area is looking at me.
Right.
Big nose, sharp teeth, curved hands. They got padding down here. I guess it's because they walk on all fours from time to time. Yeah, on their hand. They got a little bit of padding right in through here and down below when they walk on all fours. And he had a dew claw still, but his dew claw was set up differently. And I think that's how he made it up the tree then in record time, because he could tap. And that was really too human-like when they tap. And it was like that for a while. And I kept saying, go away, go away, go away, please go away. Because it literally looked like a giant-sized werewolf. He was extremely muscular, not really any neck. You could see some hair on the back of the hair. And then there wasn't so much hair on the chest, but the arms, hardly any hair on the hands or the feet. But the rest of him was pretty hairy, except for the chest area, hands and feet, and a little bit on the face too. His snout was longer than the others. His teeth appeared longer. But like I said, he didn't have the full mane yet. So you could see that he had no neck. And it actually made his head seem smaller than his body because he was so muscular. He's probably the closest I've been to them, even though there was just that thin glass between us. The reality with him is he could have gotten in if you'd wanted to. I was in a area where it was mostly glass.
Right.
And the door was flimsy as can be. But the porch started to give away. Cost me about $1,300 to fix it, and he jumped off before it broke. He literally just took a finger, opened up the gate, walked out, and jumped off. The last I seen of him, he was running down the creek. And after that, I took to sleeping downstairs, and then our roommate got removed from our home, and I started sleeping back in my room again, across from Grandma, and I could hear him going across night after night after night. And then when the mountain lion I was trying to find a home for was killed, it's like, enough is enough. I cannot live here anymore. And I moved away, and that's what the first book is about, plus 2 other people's encounters.
Okay. I had a question, like when you said, like, he's special. Remember you said when he was, like he was coming up that tree so fast. Do you feel like it was like it knew you were up there and it was specifically coming up there to see you when you were out there on that balcony?
Absolutely. I'm convinced he saw me long before he went up there.
And do you think he meant to do you harm? Like, did you feel like?
No, I think he was trying to stop me from going out with the mountain lion out there, or I interrupted him hunting. I'm beginning to realize that there are certain animals that some of them will protect you from.
And when you looked out that window, was you looking out? Was it the glass doors on the balcony door, or what was that like? Kind of.
No, that was just a regular window.
And its face was right at the window when you looked out. It was right face to face.
He was right there looking back at me. It was like, ah!
Oh my God, that would have. I don't think I would have been able to make it.
I know.
I didn't either. I could literally feel my heart stop and go to my shoes. I was gonna pass out. And in a lot of ways, I wish I did, so you'd think I was dead. Just leave. I joke about that, but I'm serious. I was scared.
Hey, I was wondering if anybody in the chat might have some questions for Anne about the 2 encounters that she already told us about. You know, just to kind of like take a break in between the encounters. If they wanted to ask anything about it, anything at all, then go ahead and ask them now.
And yeah, and hold on just a second. They think I've been hacked. Let me respond to that real quick.
Okay. Go ahead, B. So, Anne, so that was your second encounter, right, Anne?
That's all 4 of them.
Oh, was that all four of them? Okay, okay. All right. I was mixing
Yeah, we
them
have the one. We have
up.
2 in West Virginia and
Right.
2 in Arizona at that point.
Oh, okay. 2 West Virginia, 2 in Arizona. And I remember you telling me that you live in Arizona now, but you're originally from Kansas, right?
Right. I'm from Wichita.
Right. So when you lived in Kansas, how long did you live in Kansas, or before you moved to Phoenix, Arizona?
I moved to Arizona in 1981 from Germany.
Oh.
My dad's in the Air Force. My
Uh-huh.
stepfather's in the Air Force, and my mom's an educator. She has a doctorate in education, and my parents are really big on education. My brother and I also have more than one degree.
Mm-hmm.
I have my paramedicine and my psychology. I'm
Mm-hmm.
working toward my journalism, obviously.
Right. Okay.
I guess because we were a family of overachievers.
Right. Hey, and also, can you tell like the people that are listening about your 3 books that you have and the 4th one that you're working on right now, where we can get them, where we can purchase them at?
Well, the first 3 are all on Amazon.
Okay.
They're running a special right now on exploring the paranormal, tales of the supernatural and unexplained.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping more people would be interested. You got ghosts, witches, ghosts, witches, vampires, and just plain unexplained.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you, had the one where the woman kept dreaming about a beautiful woman turning into a tiger, ripping her boyfriend's throat out.
Wow.
Well, it kept happening all night long. She'd have that nightmare. And as soon as the tiger roared, she'd wake up, or he'd wake her up, try to get the tiger away. But it happened repeatedly. And the legend is the legend of the were-tiger. And she is Asian or whatnot, but
Is that the one you were telling me? Is that the one you were telling me just the other day? A were-tiger, B? Like
were-tiger.
I've never heard of that before. That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Well, I don't know if it had more to do with her and the movie she watched and her suspicions of him cheating on her or what, but she made that happen somehow, and I would like to know how she made it happen. I have little doubt.
Hey, I have a question. I have a question from Steve Riley. He says, "I wonder if you put some kind of energy or something that attracts them to you." Now, can you explain that to them?
Okay, we were talking about this.
Yeah.
I've been told that because I come from 2 families, 2 cultures that both practice magic is why they're attracted to me.
Wow.
And yeah.
Tell them about your bloodline. And
yeah, because I was about to say, tell us more about that because that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
As far as this is concerned. Okay, go ahead.
Come on. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so I lost you guys there for a minute. Let me turn you up.
Okay.
All right. So my first part is Native American. My grandfather would never say what tribe, but that's what they believe in. They use a lot of different earth magics. And then the other part is literally gypsy.
Sorry. I thought you mentioned
weird. I can't hear you guys anymore.
Chow, or something like that.
Did I mute my mic?
Did you? I don't know.
Can you hear me, Carlito?
I can hear you. Yeah, and I can hear her.
Can you hear us now? She said she can't.
Go ahead, say something.
We can hear you.
Yeah, that's weird. I can kind of hear you.
Yeah, we can both hear you.
Check your volume.
Okay. Ringtone notification.
We can hear her. It's just she can't hear us too good.
Okay. Ow!
Can you hear? Oh.
She got cut out.
Yeah. I think there might be something with their signal. With their signal.
Well, I think she said a lot of interesting stuff. I think this is awesome.
Yeah. I hate the storms around here.
Yeah,
I
man,
want
she got
to
so much. She got so much stuff. I'm like, man, it's crazy.
But I wanted to
That's what I wanted
continue
everybody
going
to hear.
into what you were saying about the bloodline because I know you
Bloodline.
were talking about auras and stuff like that before, and I know you had told me like I had a different spirit, like a wolf spirit, and I thought that was interesting because I know this is weird. I'm a Christian, but I always said my spirit animal was a fox. I don't know.
Yeah. I could kind of see that too. You know,
Yeah.
um, what I was saying is it's Native American. My grandfather would never say what kind. Got treated bad by both sides. And the other side is actually Romanian gypsy, very nomadic.
Oh
So
wow.
two different blue lines, two different heritage. It's kind of weird. But that was
Wow.
one. And the other thing is they was suggested. I'm always very kind and giving towards animals and people in general, and maybe they
Hmm.
see that. You know, they see
Right.
that a
Yeah.
person actually cares.
Yeah, they see your good heart and they see your good intentions. I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now,
So
have you
I,
go ahead?
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
I
Have
was
you ever
gonna
been
say,
gifted by them?
then what?
Have you ever been gifted by them? A lot of people talk about them bringing gifts and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah, the last, the one that starts book 4. Um, I kept dreaming about a meadow, and seeing one that kind of looks like the others, but kind of didn't. And when we pulled up to the lodge where I was going to be spending my birthday, it had the meadow across the street.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh
obviously I
my
was a little nervous, but me being me, it's like it's -6 degrees and I want to go hiking, so I went hiking. And she goes,
Right.
"Can you feed these beautiful horses for me where they're Clydesdale?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go."
Right.
So I took the apples down, but the animals were acting weird. The dogs, the massive Alaskan dogs, were acting weird. The horses were
Mm-hmm.
acting weird. Got the feeling that there was a major predator, so I closed my eyes. Was all I could sense was something big, but I wasn't sure what it was. But the horses were acting so weird, and then the dog knocked me over, and I saw a footprint that reminded me of both a Sasquatch and a Dogman. So I was trying to look for a rational explanation because they had sharp, sharp claws. But the rest of the foot was big and wide like a Bigfoot. And so I ditched the apples and I was like trying to get a picture, and the dog kept knocking me over. I was like, fine, I get the hint, damn it. And I got up and went to the front porch. Then I went up and got my gear and everything, hoping that I would see something I could take a picture of. And I got my better camera, better binoculars and everything. But when he
Right.
stepped out of the woods, I wasn't expecting it. I'm scanning the line with my binoculars, and he just suddenly stepped out of the woods. And I got all excited at first because from about the waist down is what I saw at first, and it was pure Sasquatch. So I'm getting
Hey,
excited.
Ann.
Like, "Ooh, pure
Hey, Ann.
Sasquatch."
Ann. Is that the one you were telling me that looks half Dogman and half Bigfoot? Is that the one? Like
Yeah,
Adam?
he's the other one with the red eyes. Yeah, I was getting
Right.
to that. I was all excited until I saw his pointy ears, and the snout
Right.
wasn't quite as long. The
Right.
teeth were, and of course he had the little nails. And I turned away because I'm like, no, you're not there. I told you that he made the sound like an owl. So I turned back, and he held up one of those apples I tossed into the forest. Next morning, I get up. He had put a white feather and a green rock on my truck.
Right.
Have no idea what it means, but it was significant. And I think it's because there had been a really big predator in the form of a mountain lion that had gotten in there, and two
Hmm.
guys out for bull elk brought it down with a bow and arrow. So,
Hmm.
um, but
Now,
it was on a rampage up until then. It was infected.
oh wow. Now,
Yeah.
you mentioned about Bigfoot and Dogman? You were seeing them you seen them at the same time they were
Yes.
get together?
Yes.
I had later. I had one more encounter before this, but when I was back east, I noticed when I got up after a rain that there were some unusual footprints in the yard that went from our cellar up into the woods. So I went outside and I put my foot up against it. I got a picture of it too. It was huge compared to my foot. So when my son was there, my oldest, who has a size 16 foot, I had him put his foot next to it, and it was still a good 7 inches taller.
Oh wow.
So, and I think I told Carlito this. We ended up missing 100 pounds of bird seed, some dog biscuits, dog food, some stuff out of the refrigerator, and there was like this rearranging of the back porch.
Like
where
intelligent, not animal. Where
yeah,
they just
it was
Right.
yeah, it wasn't just someone
ravage
stealing
everything.
them.
Uh-huh.
It was the way they were
Wow.
stacking them showed intelligence. And this went on 3 weekends in a row, and it stopped. Then in the meantime, we could hear them doing the tree knocking and the howling in the middle of the night, and it was on the mountain in front of us and directly behind us, so it was sending chills down our spines. So I go out
Wow.
to the post office one day near where my second encounter took place, and I get this creepy feeling of malice, feeling of doom. I could smell something that smelled awful. And I looked up on the mountain thinking I would see it, but all I saw were the leaves moving with me. I mean, they were moving parallel and there was nothing there. I thought, God, that's
Oh,
weird
wow.
for the wind to blow that way. And I had wondered then if they could cloak themselves. So I stayed extra long at the post office and went to go back immediately. And when I went back, I was just, I was going to pick some wild roses from my mother. She loves that kind of stuff. And I look up and I see a 10-foot Bigfoot.
Wow.
And it was white and it had a little bit of tan in it and black. One eye seemed to be different, but I think I told somebody else this. It could just be a trick of the light because that time of day you get a lot of tricks of the light. But one seemed more red and one seemed more greenish. And then a little one popped up, like I could practically touch him. He just popped up, and he wasn't much bigger than me. And he's all tannish red, and he's so cute and everything with black eyes.
Oh.
And I wanted to reach out and touch him. I thought, wait a minute, that might be Mom. Not a good idea. And I told Carlito this. I just decided, back off.
Oh my God! Was it? You said it jumped up. It came up to you.
They were pretty close. But I didn't realize it was so they could talk to me. And we were talking about Nori, the big female white wolf.
That's what I was talking about, B.
And she
White wolf.
Yep.
She's a big white. Yeah, I call her the white wolf. There's a legend of the white wolf.
It's very well known.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it was crazy to think that she's actually a dog man. On my mom's birthday, there was howling going on all around us, and we were trying to figure out what's going on. And my mom got scared for a few minutes. I was going in the house to get a beer, and she came back out. Wow. And I was just sitting there. She goes, "Are you all right?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Because I'm not gonna say, "Well, you went in the house, so this wolf that was over by the briars decided to stick her head out and say hi, like literally."
Right. Oh my God.
She told me who she was and everything. She said the one that was stalking me in the woods has bad medicine, and they're going to protect me and the community from them because that's kind of what they do. They protect innocent people.
Oh wow.
Because this one is bad medicine to me, and I think that the reason to use that particular word, bad medicine to me always means whatever it is wants more. They want either more control, more power, more followers, more something. There's always more. So I think that was used specifically for me personally to make sense of it.
Now, do you believe that there's other cryptids out there in the woods besides just Bigfoot and Dogman?
Absolutely. Because I can give you a list of some animals here, and you tell me what they have in common. Giant gorillas, giant pandas, giant squid, colossal squid, and giant octopuses, and duck-billed platypuses.
At one time period, they were thought to not really exist. The panda, I think I've heard for sure, and those giant squid. I forgot what did they used to call that? It was some weird movie name. I can't remember. Yes.
That's how I opened book for. I mentioned that. He wrote that story in 6 to 8 BC. Homer did, and you look at that and you look, wow, it looks like a giant squid, but they weren't discovered in 2007. And I read that book in like the 5th grade in 19. I'm not carbon dating myself, but you get the point.
Right. Yeah. So at one point in time, they were thought not to exist. I mean, like I was telling my co-host, one of my co-hosts on my show last night, I was telling her like we haven't explored the deepest parts of the ocean, and we haven't gone to the deepest depths far out into the woods. Like we can only go so far, but they can go to areas that we can't get to.
What got me, and it's something I find so funny, there was an animal they thought was extinct, completely extinct in Thailand, and they're out in the bush, they're cutting it, and all of a sudden the saber-toothed like tiger comes out of nowhere and attacks, and it's like this is supposed to have been extinct for over 200 years, yet guess where it is? It's still here. Just like the mega mouth shark and the goblin shark.
I wouldn't doubt saber-tooth being out in Russia, like in the Russia region, the ice cold, forest out in Russia. I wouldn't put it past it that, saber-tooth are still out there,
Well, one of the things somebody asked me with the cryptids is, what do they eat? Now, if I was a sarcastic type person, see whatever they want, just to be sarcastic, but I'm not that sarcastic. Right. It depends on what their competition for food is. Some are omnivores, some are more carnivores because that's what's available. Mm-hmm. A Bigfoot in Alaska is not going to, and a Bigfoot in Siberia is not going to eat what one does here in Arizona or Washington. Right. We also have the berries, the plant life, and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Whereas in other places, they only have the meats available, and so they are more meat eaters.
Right.
Right.
So, it depends on the region. It's just like.
And I think too that's why they look a little different. Someone asked me that question once. So why don't they all look alike? Well, do all the finches look alike? Are all bats the same? Or all humans the same?
Absolutely. And I've talked about this before too. And they supposedly have like what is it, like a different types list, a categorization of 7 different types of dogman. And I just really don't believe that. I mean, to me personally, and I could be wrong, I'm no expert, but just my personal thoughts, I think that there's different breeds, just like there's different races of people, like there's different breeds of dogs. I just think that there's different breeds. And I don't think that whoever came up with that chart, I mean, maybe they can say different body types. You might can say you got some with the, body of a man. I mean, upper body of a man, dog's head, and like a man's legs. And then you got the ones that look more like a dog standing straight up on 2 feet. Or there's some that look like a werewolf. So if you want to characterize it like that, I agree with that. So I wonder sometimes, like, what do you think about that theory? Or have you heard that?
Yeah. For me personally, in the book, Blue Heeler a lot. Mm-hmm. Government pincher, and I put pit bulls, and I put down a little map of the areas. Mm-hmm. The Doberman pinchers are more in Europe, Germany to be more precise. I heard more than one person say that's what they saw. Looked more like a Doberman pinscher shepherd mix. Here in the United States, Blue Heelers in Texas, where Carlito is, up to Arkansas. Over near Michigan, Elkhorn, more like a wolf. So definitely, I think that there's something there. I think they're just different species of the same thing. Because I know that's how it is with the Sasquatches, because of their different diets, and because the Yeti, unlike most of them, and the sun monkey, I think is what they call it, they both move on all fours. They're quadrupeds instead of bipedal. And I think that's important to know, because like the little finches that were in the Guanapos, each one adjusts to its own little niche. So they're going to have a little different look. And that's one of the reasons why we as human beings look a little different.
Absolutely.
It had to do with where we're originally from.
Okay. Did you want to go ahead on with more of your encounters? Did you have more stuff you want to share? Because if not, we'll go on. I'm going to let you continue on because I know you got a lot of information you want to share with us. And then we'll save the rest of our questions for later. So I don't want to cut you off anymore.
So one of the questions I keep getting asked, and because that's just about it with the encounters, is why do some people have multiple encounters? And I discussed that at length in my book for the last part of the first section. One of it is locations. I had one, Marcus, who lives in Texas in an area that's known to have a lot of dogmen.
Right.
and Michigan. I have one person that had 4 stories out of Michigan. And again, Michigan Dogman, it's a no-brainer. And some, of course, out of the Elkhorn region. So I think that location has some to do with it. Some of the people in my stories have jobs that require them to travel across the United States, or jobs where they're out in the forest, and I think that's why they had their encounters. They're out in the forest, they're out among nature, so they have these encounters. Another one is they've imprinted on you for whatever reason. They just say, "Hey, I like you, so I'm going to hang out with you." Not the best thing in the world, but not the worst either. I mean, if you're going to have a best friend, have something scary and intimidating.
Right.
I joke about it. It really doesn't make you feel all that great.
It doesn't.
I mean, you get afraid of them. I'm kind of afraid and kind of not, because I don't ever know which ones are the bad ones. I've been told that they can fool you. I don't know if that's true, but I'm not ready to put it through the test, so to speak.
Right.
I've been told one of the reasons I probably notice them too is I'm more observant than other people. That comes from being a medic. I have to be able to assess you quickly and treat you effectively to make sure you're still alive by the time I get you to the hospital.
Right. I understand that.
You go die on somebody else's time, not mine.
Right. I remember you telling me you're a paramedic, right?
Yeah, I'm a paramedic. I finally retired in March, like I said, because of the gastroparesis. Most of the time I don't feel well. That's what's taken so much longer with this book than the other 3. I got 3 out before November, and I started in August, so that's actually pretty good. But this one's taken longer, and 2, people kept adding to it. It's a great feeling. Keep it up, people. I'll keep writing if you keep sending. So that made me feel really good. And I think one of the last reasons people have multiple encounters is some people will go out and look for them. And I have stories in there where people went out looking for them and it didn't end quite the way they expected it to.
Yeah.
Not necessarily bad, but they bit off more than they could chew because they were being stupid.
Right.
Absolutely.
You don't go out minus 19 degrees and expect to have a good time.
Yes.
Now, exactly. Do you think that they're flesh and blood creatures, or do you think that they're do you think that they can be flesh and blood and spiritual or supernatural type creatures at the same time?
The multi-dimensional creatures. I believe more in a multiverse, so I would say that they're more multi-dimensional. I don't think of them as Nephilims. I don't think of them as demons. More like part human, part alien. I've heard that. I'm beginning to wonder. Their DNA doesn't actually match with anything known, whereas the Bigfoot has a variant, all but one gene, which is chimp to us. So that's a pretty big variant that would put them in our category.
Absolutely.
More than an ape. I got that from Monster Quest, I think.
I'd like to know what that unknown gene is.
Yeah.
I'd really like to know what that is, because why can't they? That's what I mentioned last night during the show, Carlito. I was like, how can they unknown? Like, I mean, of course, maybe we don't have all the species of all the animals in the world, but there's just something else to that.
Right.
They're not. It's something. Anyway.
Right.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy, but like we talked about Atlantis last night, Cristyne, on the show, and I was telling him if for the people, and I feel like now because of what we know about Bigfoot, Dogman, and these other cryptids, I believe that Atlantis probably really did exist, because like I'm reading Edgar Casey's book, he mentioned that in Atlantis they had creatures there that had animal appendages, like they were part human and part animal, and like you hear a lot of stories like that in Greek mythology, some things that are in the Bible and other cultures throughout the world. So I just, when you look at all this stuff, it doesn't make it seem so far-fetched when you look at everything now.
Well, like I told Carlito, I want to do my next book on mythology and the werewolf.
Yes.
And I'm headed toward how those mythologies are probably playing into the Dogman. Because what mythology is human beings attempt to explain something they can't explain. That's why we have hundreds of creation myths, hundreds, if not thousands, per each culture.
Right.
My favorite ones today is still the Aborigines way, because it's such a loving story, but it's one that you wouldn't expect to be quite as loving. I guess it's a matter of thought too. But like I tell people, where did the werewolf come from? Well, it came from King Lycan. King Lycan was a
Yeah,
king in ancient Greece times,
he's
and
an
he
actual
made
king.
Zeus mad.
Hmm.
Yeah, he made Zeus mad because he served him stewed human meat. So
Oh, wow.
lightning bolt all his sons, struck them down with lightning bolts, and then turned Lycan into a werewolf.
As
To
a punishment, right?
Yes, it's a
As a
punishment,
curse. Yeah.
I didn't know
and
that.
that's
And
why
that's where the
Lycan
idea, yeah, that's why the idea of lichens are punished. Like in this is what I was just telling her yesterday. The that you know how what is it Underworld, where they
Mm-hmm.
like the werewolves of like the banned species out of the thing, and like they're the bad
Yeah.
guys, they're the cursed ones. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like a bad thing to be a werewolf because that's like a curse they put on you that you're paying
Mm-hmm.
for something, and that's where it comes from. I didn't know that. I'm like, wow, no wonder now it
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like I told him, um, you have the Rougarou from New Orleans.
Hmm.
It was meant to be like the boogeyman and scare children into being good during Lent. But the dogmen in the area have made that a little difficult because they do
Wow.
sometimes get into the terrorists from what I understand and cause problems. And then you have the beast of Baleen. Well, what people don't realize about that beast is it was an actual werewolf hunter who killed him. Second or third generation werewolf hunter. And he melted down his religious medallion of silver and shot him with it.
Hmm.
And that's believed how he actually died. So that was a fairly large wolf. And two, the survivor from that clearly said it was a wolf and not a lion.
Hmm.
She fought it off. And actually, according to history, there's two. There's the first survivor, her cow saved her because they would have had long horns up there in Europe and hair.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one, she was desperate to save her and her sister, so she kept spearing it.
Oh,
Is
wow.
there a possibility of more than one? Absolutely. There was a lot of killing. But what I found most interesting, if you put a map over that to recent sighting, they match up perfectly. So,
Absolutely.
so that you have that too.
Hey,
And
hey, Ann, I wanted to kind of like because I'm remembering of all the stuff that we've talked about that we're missing out right now that we're missing, to mention. Can you tell them about how you communicate with these Dogmen and Bigfoots? Like how you were telling me that they put like pictures and projections in your head to communicate with you.
I've been told that Dogman can communicate and the Bigfoot in two different ways, a Sasquatch. One of them is like Nori does with me. Nori's the big white wolf, and she will put images in my head or, talk to me in block letters.
Hmm.
I do
Wow.
have it from other people who tell me that they can actually talk with their mouths. And I know the Bigfoot can. It's just deeper and a little harder to understand. But both cultures have their own unique language. Um, and there's nothing quite like hearing them babble
Hmm.
to themselves. It's complete gibberish to us, but when you think about it, we probably sound that way to them.
Now, you
That's
said
just-
that some of them can speak like with a language, a verbal language, not just telepathically speaking.
Yes.
yeah, they do both with each other, but they actually have sounds and stuff that they do that I think is their actual language.
Carlito, if you were listening last night, Odessa had mentioned that same thing.
Really? I missed
Yeah,
that.
she mentioned that too. That's really interesting. And
Wow.
I believe Greg Yost actually said that as well. So it's just really interesting as we interview guests and stuff like that. And there's different common denominators, and you hear so many people saying different things. It kind of makes you want to like have like a category of lists of like common things that you hear on these interviews. So I think that's awesome. It's amazing when you learn all this. And like I said, to me, just you bringing up the eyes. Did you want to continue talking more about what you were saying, though, Cristyne?
Yeah. They have their own language. They have their own culture. I was telling Carlito, sorry, sweetie.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
One of the most interesting stories for me in the book I did. I'm not necessarily for any kind of drugs. I ride the fence with medical marijuana, but we had a couple of youngsters who wanted to go out and have their vision quest, and their tribe no longer did peyote for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so they scored some mushrooms, went out into the woods, and after they caught some fish and had dinner, they decided they can go up on a knoll and do their shrooms. So,
Absolutely.
one of them was having the time of his life, watching literally the Milky Way dance and solve all his problems. The other one, not so much so. And he was flipping out, so his friend went down to go get some music. And I wish I'd asked them how. Was it iPod,
Right.
this, radio? But given where they were, I don't think it's possible it could have been a radio. Anyways, he comes back towards it, and he hears his friend go from being paranoid to laughing ridiculously. I mean, just laughing his hind end off. And next thing he knows, his friend comes flying down the side, big old gash.
Mm-hmm.
Head hits the rock, another gash. And then the dogman jumps down in front of him, sniffs him a few times. He does himself in with messing his pants, which I would have too. And then went over and took the teapot where the rest of that shroom tea was, some apples and the fish, and left. And I was thinking that poor dogman is stoned out there somewhere. That was so crazy.
Can you imagine?
How was that poor guy doing? It was that poor dog. It wasn't that poor man. It was that poor dog man.
Right.
He got several stitches. His friend drove him to the nearest policeman, which got both of them busted for drugs. So 6 months later and a year later, drug rehab and whatnot. Both of them got to find out why they should never do shrooms.
Right.
They had a really bad night because he got 18 stitches on his chest and I think 6 staples in the head. And then on top of that, 6 months of community service and probation for drugs.
I know.
That is crazy. But they say, Carlito, well, I don't know, like marijuana is one thing, but you know how they say they're attracted to tobacco?
Yes.
I don't know if
tobacco.
Yeah.
I have to wonder about that because twice, I've gone outside to light up a cigarette and guess what was there?
Yes. Every single encounter I had, even when I was in the car smoking, every encounter I was out there smoking when I seen them.
Yeah.
It wasn't a time that I wouldn't. I almost offered them a cigarette.
There's got to be some truth to that. I don't think they like cigarette smoke.
I think they like them. I'm like, shoot, you remember that story from Skinwalker Ranch though, when they were saying that this sounds ridiculous to me, but they said that the police officer seen the ones out there smoking cigarettes. Did you hear that one, Carlito?
No.
This is on Skinwalker Ranch, but I don't know. It's ridiculous. But maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. But they like it.
I've heard a lot of encounters where a lot of people, when they go out to smoke, is when they come out of the woodline or they come out of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
There's an ancient legend. Okay, if you want to make friends with the dogman, you take some sweet grass and uncured tobacco, wrap it together, and take it and put it out in the middle of the woods, and they will come. That's a sign of peace.
I have heard that.
Yeah,
I have heard that.
That makes sense.
There's something about tobacco they like. I have no idea what. But, I don't go out after dark anymore and smoke on the porch.
See, you see that bee? Des is agreeing. She says, yeah, it's the tobacco. She's like,
yes,
it's the tobacco that they like. Yeah. So
I stopped going. She's right, too. Like, and I'm going with what Cristyne was saying, too. Like, she said she stopped going outside after dark. And I actually, sometimes I just couldn't hold back. Like, I had to have that cigarette. So, and my parents didn't let me smoke in their house. So I would be like, you know how you got the screen door like half open, and then you got the like I had I'm standing right there in the door with like and looking at the woods, but at the same time I'm thinking, Lord God, please don't let that thing come around the other side of the house and catch me while I'm looking over there in the woods. Because you can hear stuff back there walking around, and I've actually walked back there before and heard them pacing me. When you stop, they stop.
Hey, well, Odessa just mentioned, and I do believe that. I do believe that, guys, where Odessa says that it's been an offering from indigenous peoples for generations. So maybe they know that already for the tobacco, and they think you're going to offer them some. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So.
You know, I'm going to test that.
I know why people do that.
Oh, yeah. Try that, B?
I'm going to go back there and take a pack of Newports and a pack of Marlboro and see which one they prefer. I'm being silly right now.
Yeah.
I'm being silly. I'm just making jokes, Cristyne. But I do know I've had encounters with them from 2013 all the way up to 2020, and that they never tried to harm me. They never approached me. I do feel like they are paranormal as well as flesh and blood. I have seen them go from visible to invisible, or to manifest. Like I guess I don't even know how to explain that. Kind of like coming. I don't even know how to explain it. Manifesting, that's the best way to explain it. Like going from nothing into like appearing. It was the weirdest thing. And I'm so upset. I had a 13-minute long video on that. One day I'm going through my phone, like trying to delete stuff out of there and empty the phone with just trash. And I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do? Like, this is the greatest video to ever prove like the manifestation of them, that paranormal side. And it's weird. But, you know, a lot of people ask questions too, Cristyne, like, what is it when you can see, when you're looking at them and you can just see the head, but then you're wondering where's the rest of the body? What do you think about that?
They cloak themselves. I do think they can cloak themselves. Those leaves weren't moving themselves, and that was too linear to not have been an animal. I was being stalked or something. I was telling Carlito the other day, me and my husband were out in the hot tub, and I was following with my eyes what I thought was an airplane, right up until it just disappeared. I was like, you know, I was like, where'd it go? My husband's going, I didn't see that. And I said, yep, me either.
An airplane that disappeared?
Huh?
You said an airplane that disappeared?
Yeah, we thought it was an airplane, but he says it wasn't an airplane. It looked more like a spacecraft. I said, I don't know what it was, and I was following it, and then it just, I was looking for airplane parts and everything on the ground. Nothing happened. I was like, wow, that's...
I believe you.
I told him, that's really anticlimactic. Except for the, that shocking part where it just disappeared. It's like, well, where did it go?
No, I've seen that before. A lot of people don't think about looking up, and I've seen that quite a few times.
Yeah.
And I think it worked to the advantage of the cryptid that took this one girl. I was looking over the case file, and I'm not going to explain the why behind it, but the only thing, if there was no tire tracks and there was no footprints, and her mom was only in that bathroom for a few minutes, the only place she could have gone is up, and there was a huge tree right beside the bathroom. So I'm pretty sure whatever took her straight up. And you're right, people don't look for that.
They don't. They actually don't.
Yeah, it's covered in.
Go ahead, Carlito.
Hey, Ann, I have a question. It's from Steve Riley again. He's been having pretty good questions, B. He says, have you seen spirits being a paramedic?
Yeah. I had to do CPR on a woman not too long ago, and I knew we weren't going to get her back because there was no heat signature. There was nothing. I couldn't sense anything. And I usually can feel when we're gonna get them back. And sometimes, when I was in West Virginia once, I was working, and we weren't sure whether or not the fifth child was with the other four. They all four were unfortunately already deceased. But she just suddenly popped up and was asking for help. And it wasn't until she disappeared I realized that she was caught between, or in the in-between, as some people call it. And I eventually found her, and they got her to a hospital. And, she survived, but I imagine it was hard for her mom to hear, 4 of her kids died that day.
Oh, wow. So that's too much to handle.
It is. and they have
Hey,
no idea what happened.
hey, Ann, I got a question for you, real quick. Do you think that cryptids and UFOs have any connection? Bec-
Absolutely. I
yeah.
used to not,
Hmm.
but now I do because I'm starting to think they're both interdimensional
Hmm.
as opposed to being from other planets. I had my doubts before, but um, it I keep hearing from other people instances that lead me to believe they're more interdimensional based on the fact that these signals bounce back to us for some reason when they
Hmm.
should be going further out into space.
Right.
It's been said that we did get some response at some point, but it was basically stop sending these signals type response.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Um,
Well,
because they're
the reason I mentioned that is because I don't know if you've heard this before. I'm pretty sure you have. There's been many sightings and encounters of cryptids alongside with UFO sightings right before or right after the
Right.
I have
cryptid
one
encounters.
who swears up and down that a UFO appeared, and then 5 seconds later a Bigfoot appeared,
Yes,
and that sounds
that's what
about
I'm.
right.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes, and
Mm-hmm.
also people have claimed to see cryptids walk in and out of portals, like
Yeah,
time portal, like you know what I mean.
yeah,
So
that's
Yeah, I've
why it's
heard of
starting
that
to
too,
believe
Lita.
them.
hmm that's why I was
Mm-hmm.
asking
Well,
you what you thought
I think
about
I
that.
told you before. I'd like to be able to do more research once I'm more stable with my gastrophegesis. I started a new job the other day, just working in a restaurant, so I don't have the kind of responsibility I did before.
Hmm.
Um, I've seen enough of the bad. I'm ready to just kick back
Right.
and enjoy working at Mama's Kitchen, and I did
Absolutely.
enjoy it too.
I can imagine. Let me
It
see.
was. I love to cook, and I like waitressing, and there's no crime in that. When you like to do things like that, you just it's just who you are. It was kind of weird. Someone recognized me from the back of my book,
Hmm.
um, and she kept looking at me kind of funny. And then when it snapped in her head, it was because of the name on my badge. She goes, "You misspelled your own name."
Wow.
I was like,
That's so
"I did."
interesting.
Hey, hey, Ann, I wanted to ask you, is it okay, like, after after the live, and maybe later on today, or maybe even tomorrow, that I could post on my group, and then maybe B's group as well, and Tom, because he's on here, about your books, because one of our like really good followers, like big time follower. His name is Voltron. Everybody knows him.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me if I could post on my group, all the information about your books, where to get them, prices, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That way, because he would love to buy some, and that goes for me as well. So, you think
Well,
that'll be okay?
the books themselves, they're all available on Amazon.
Right.
Um, I've never been able to get the links off of them. They say it's supposed to be a snap and a hit, but the new computer doesn't allow for very much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they all are available on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
The price for the first one was $6 for the paper book, 5 for the Kindle. Uh, that one I'd recommend the Kindle version. For
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason, when they did the print, it was old school and it's so small. Unless you see really good, don't bother buying it.
Okay.
That's everything. The other two, I strongly recommend you buying them in paperback because all the
Wow.
words are actually there. But again, it was problems with the formatting with Amazon, which is why I decided to go with an actual publishing company this time around.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Um,
blame you.
because it takes a lot of hard work to do a book to begin with. Um,
Right.
right
I
now,
agree.
last time I checked, exploring the paranormal was at 3 something for the paperback and 2 something. No, I'm sorry. I doing a promotion right now where it should be free for all Kindle readers. And Grand's Little Helper's on hold until November when they will start selling that one again for the Christmas holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So, and it's adorable little Christmas ditty about my last Christmas with my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I told Carlito, my only big dream for that Christmas was I want a pair of shoes of my own.
Oh wow! Did you have
Yeah.
any more? And when was the last experience you had?
The last experience I had was me and my husband were there recently, and the tree knocking started and the howling, and we seen one later that night. Nori came out of the woods with Art. Art's her, I guess you would call him her mate. Nori
Mm-hmm.
runs. Nori says that they're a matriarch society. They're not run by the males. Two big males would protect the lot of them, but it's mostly she makes the decisions. Now she's very limp. She's very skinny
Right.
around the but
So
very
she's a leader. She's a leader, B.
Oh
yeah.
wow, that's really
Yes.
interesting.
Yes. The men are just like soldiers. They're just to protect the clan. Wow.
And the
Wow.
pup. And to
So
make for good meat.
you've seen the pups too?
I haven't. Now Brad's gotten close enough that his female actually every time she has a new one, she's got to show one off. Now she only has one at a time, but she gets in front of the camera when he's there, and she'll hold it up for him to see. And
Yes.
or she puts it in logs when she goes hunting, and he'll get up and take a picture. Now if he gets too close, the male might let him know back off. But
Oh wow.
he's just so proud. It's like, look what I did. And then his big Bigfoot, or what does he call him? Yowie, Harry. He likes to smile for the camera too and show off. He is a big
Absolutely.
Hey B, she sent me some pictures the other day. Oh man, they're so good, man.
I bet they're awesome.
I can't lie.
I want to send her some.
You gotta see them. Yeah, you gotta see them.
Yes.
One of them looks like a Bigfoot, but he looks like more human. Like more human than you know how most people say they look like gorillas.
Yeah, because they have that flat, rounded nose sometimes.
Right. Well, yeah, that sunken nose. You know what I mean? Like a gorilla. Well, no, this one's got more like a human nose, like my nose.
Oh yeah.
Like a chimp nose.
Yeah.
Well, more a little bit more like a chimp, but more human.
Of a bridge to the nose.
Yes, more human. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only thing, it looks like a human almost, but just like real dark skin color. And it's got all black eyes, all black eyes. It's got no white in there.
Wow. On the picture?
Yep. So that tells me, because you know how like there's chimps that don't have any white in their eyes?
Yeah.
It's all black. So that tells me that they're very, very related to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The other variant is their variants were human with 1 degree variant that was chimp. Yeah. It's just with the Dogman we don't know. We know that part of them is human. But
I've never seen a Bigfoot like this. Never. Look human, more human than animal. It's
crazy. You've heard some encounters though where people say that they felt so afraid, or they not afraid, but they felt like they were afraid, but they wanted to shoot it, but at the same time they were like, no, it looks too human.
Human? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what this one looks
like. The Sasquatches usually are the ones with the sense of humor. And you can always tell a Dogman that's raised with them, because Dogmen overall are very stoic, very reserved. They're keepers of peace in the forest type. Mm-hmm. Never go into the forest with a bad mood. You're going to run into something you don't want to.
Right.
But the Sasquatches tend to be better tempered, and they have a sense of humor. Right. And so the Dogmen are raised with them. They'll have more of a sense of humor.
Right.
Absolutely.
Hey, Anne, can you tell us? Can you remind me what you were telling me the other day that one of them was telling you be careful because there's an alpha male that he's not a good guy, like he's dangerous.
He's not bad medicine.
Right.
He's an alpha male.
Alpha male, but is that a Dogman or is that a Bigfoot? I'm not too sure.
That's definitely a Dogman. That smell, that's a Dogman.
And he was communicating with you, telling you that there was a bad one around the area, right?
Yeah, Nori was telling me that they were trying. That's why the Bigfoot and them are working together right now. They're trying to get the Dogman to move along, because it isn't just one; it's a whole pack of them.
Yeah, and Nori, you told me spell Nauri, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not. It's cool.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And well, actually, I told B about that, today earlier, and she's like, "Oh yeah, well that's what Odessa was telling me that that she knows one too." And what's her name, B?
Who are you talking about? Oh, she said
The
no. She was
the
telling me the
Dogman.
name of the Dogman.
Right.
Well, actually, Danielle Jones. She was the one telling me
Okay.
about the one on my picture. But that's Odessa's friend. She was
Uh-huh.
telling the one on my picture was named Sequoia, and I said, "How did you
Sequoia.
get that?"
Yeah.
But they said that their Sasquatch, their Sas clan, as they call them,
Hmm.
speak to them telepathically and tell them. And they also said that the Dogmen, they call them wolf people, tell them the names, or they. I don't know if it's verbally or if it's through what would you call it? I guess telepathic.
Speaking on
For me
that,
and black language.
in my opinion, I agree with some people that I have seen mentioned before that they don't like the term dogman because it's not a dog,
Mm,
it's a wolf. It's more of a wolf. You know what I mean? So a lot of people are
That's
trying to
a
like,
dog.
yeah, a lot of people don't like that term. They would prefer wolfman or wolf, person or whatever, or maybe even upright canine. You know what I mean? That's another term for it. But
yes.
the dog is like, no, it doesn't fit well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I have a question. I have a question
They have their own
from
name for their own things. You
right.
do know that, right? They have
Do
their own
what?
names. They
Oh, they
do have
have
their
their own
own name.
names.
What did they?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, is what they're called like as a species? Is that what you're
I don't
saying,
know,
Chris?
she meant species or clan
But their
because
own
that part was
names
really
within the
interesting.
clan. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
They have like a clan name before their name. That was weird.
Wow.
I mean, if we were to compare it to a society, you would be comparing it to a low content society because they have that reign of emotion. You show respect certain ways and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to challenge them by looking them in the eye. I can tell you that. So,
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a question from Damien K says, what's the difference between Sasquatch and Bigfoot? You want to get that, B?
What's the difference between Sasquatch and Bigfoot?
Hmm.
That would be.
yeah,
I don't know the answer to that.
I think there is no
Odessa is
difference.
down there in the comments. She is like the person. She has
Right.
a plan, and she talk. It would be great if she was on here right now. Odessa, what's the difference? You can answer that
Well,
while we let
yeah.
Christine say what she thinks about that. I've never seen
difference
Sasquatch or Bigfoot.
between Yowies, Sasquatches, Yetis, and monkeys is location.
Yeah.
Now, Native Americans would call them Sasquatches. Um, most of Americans call them Bigfoot because in the 1940s, when that movie first came out, or they first started seeing them in California, they had
Hmm.
such big, they started calling them
Yellowstone,
Bigfoot.
famous
Yeah.
Patty
So,
film.
further up, the redwoods, down in the
Hmm.
redwoods, they started calling them Bigfoot, and it just stuck. But Sasquatch is the actual proper name, and Yowie, Yeti, and some monkey, and some of the other places. That's just their local name. Um,
Right.
Bigfoot, like here in Arizona, believe it or not, we have a Bigfoot that's very popular. He's called the Mogollon Monster,
Have
and the
I heard
Mogollon
that?
Monster,
Yes.
and in
Who wrote?
Arkansas, you got the
Somebody wrote a
Yeti.
book on that.
Yeah, and in Arkansas, you have the Boggy Creek Monster. Florida, you have the skunk
Yeah.
ape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could go
Skunk
on
Ape.
with examples, so you get the point that I'm making.
Yes.
Um, you know, we
In Asia, it's
it
called
all depends on
orang
location.
pendek or something like that. In Asia,
Orang
orang
Pendek.
pendek.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's I think it's location like you were saying, and I think there's just all
And the
different names, but
North
it's the same
American
thing.
Keep It
Uh huh.
Paranormal Project has the absolute proper name. I would have had a hard time spelling it. That's actually it. So what they wrote
Right.
there, that's it, that's the absolute clue. But it also depends on Indian tribes, different Native American tribes. Sorry, we'll
Right.
call them by different names too. So
Right.
it has more to do with the indigenous people, as well as in like the Yowies. There's actually more than one kind of Yowie, and there's one that they were talking of. The Aborigines were talking about that's considered more dangerous than the bigger ones, and they're actually a smaller version. So
Right.
it was
Right.
all good.
Wow.
Yeah.
B.
Right.
I was just reading Tom's comments. He said, I was told by a lady that mine speaks to them, and she told me their name, and their name is. He wrote that up there too. He said my property Sasquatch name is Sequus or Sequus, however you say that.
I know.
Sequs.
Oh, so yeah, he's saying that the one on his
So
property, that's his name.
that's his name. The
Yeah.
Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome, Tom. Cool, bro.
And they will let us know what through mind speak. I'm still not sure what the difference is between that mind speak and the block letters and the picture she put in my head, and knowing that the one Bigfoot, if it wanted to, could actually speak. That's weird. Um, but I wasn't prepared to go back to that area and realize that there's something ongoing, and that it's so rich in legend and
Right.
I had no idea that was the whole purpose of being in Before Dark.
Oh
But
yeah.
now I know.
Yes.
You're always afraid of the boogie monster. Now I had bigger, worse things to be afraid of. But it makes sense because
Yep.
everyone has big lights on their yard, and every once in a while those yards end up pointing more towards the forest than towards their houses
Oh,
because
absolutely.
something
I
is
mean,
messing with them.
yep.
Yeah.
I've,
And
I've heard of.
let
Go
me
ahead.
address this. This Damien Kids. So wild man means the same as Bigfoot and Sasquatch, yes, and including grassman. Grassman means the same thing too. So
Yeah,
Be right back.
the wild man.
okay, B.
You hear that, and you hear Harryman quite
Right,
frequently. And it breaks down
right.
too.
Then he added to that. He says, "So what about Dogman? What actually is wolf? Like, I guess he's saying, are they actually a wolf? It's, then yeah, I mean, yeah, they come from a wolf. They're a hybrid of a wolf, whether it be natural or whether it be man-made. But they come from
Well, I
wolf,
suppose that could be either.
hmm
My guess is that at this point, from
or
whatever
alien-made, for that matter.
alien
Yeah.
made, yep,
hmm
I think they're part alien, part human.
hmm
Something messed with them
I
from
believe
maybe
in
another dimension.
right. I believe there's both. There's the flesh and blood creatures that are natural, just like Bigfoot. Out in the maybe from some different time or era or something. That they've been here for like thousands of years. I believe that's one, and the other one I believe also is that they're supernatural beings from another planet or another time or dimension where they can go through portals and maybe even have contact with alien beings, and they can
Yeah,
cloak. They got special abilities. They got special abilities where they can cloak, turn invisible, uh, you know, supernatural speeds and jumps and all that. I
it
mean,
amazes me how fast they can move. That
yeah.
one guy told me his car was going 75 miles per hour, and it kept up with him the whole time.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard him go up to 70 miles an hour, up to
And that was all I was
75.
doing, was racing with them.
But
Didn't
man,
mean I'm
can
no
you?
harm or anything. Just doing what dogs do.
Yeah.
In that respect, I have to wonder how much of it is their natural creature. I've been riding the fence on this one because they did find all those large wolf heads in Siberia,
hmm
and they're about the right size and everything. What if somebody was using them as a trophy?
hmm
So I have to wonder, did B go somewhere? Because if she did, I missed it.
Yeah, yeah. She excused herself for a second. She said she'll be right back.
Okay.
So yeah, she
Well,
she
I might have to wind this down because I am missing the birthday party.
do what now?
I'm gonna have to wind this down. I'm missing my son's birthday party.
Oh, so sorry about that. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. No, no, sure thing. No problem. Yes, I guess when B gets back, we can talk about that and just go ahead and wind it down, like you said. I was just checking out the comments also.
Yeah, I was looking at those too. See if I could do this.
Yeah. Somebody came in. Actually, that's a new person coming in. Welcome, Paranormal Stories. He said Wildman is a Type 4 Sasquatch. So, you know, he's giving us, like, details about what type of, you know,
Yeah.
Sasquatch are called what. But, yeah. Let's see. Who else? Who else? Who else? Oh, hey, Phil Stern, my brother. Phil Stern is here. from Werewolf Discussion. How you doing, Phil? Man, thank you for coming, brother. I really appreciate that, Phil. I left you a message, asking you if you could be here tonight, and you came through. Thank you very much. Special shout out to Phil Stern, guys. He's the administrator on Werewolf and Dogman/Werewolf Discussions that I've been a part of for about 4 years now. That's actually one of the first groups that I started with right after I found Vic like 7 years ago. Well, I found Phil's group like 4 years ago. So yeah, how you doing, buddy? ¿Cómo estás, hermano? He likes me to speak Spanish to him because he's German and he speaks Spanish himself and he likes to practice his Spanish. So I gotta talk to him in Spanish once in a while. Gracias por venir, Phil. he must be liking that right now. I'm sorry, what?
I told him Guten Morgen, Phil.
Oh yeah, you speak German, don't you? Yeah.
I hope so.
I thought it was Guten Morgen or something like that.
Yeah, Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen.
Something like that. Yeah. I just know
I'm from the
Blaupunkt.
southern part, from Bavaria.
All I know German is Blaupunkt. Blaupunkt is a blue point, and that's just a brand of a car stereo, Blaupunkt, and that's why I know it's Blue Point.
I wonder if he found Spanish as hard as I did with the German. I don't know if it's because I am from the Bavarian part or what, but for me it's been a nightmare.
Oh, okay. Yeah, B says she'll be right back. She just texted me, okay? So don't worry. She'll be right back here in just a minute. But yeah.
Okay. Tell them that I'm doing great.
Yeah, so is there anything else you can share with us? Oh, Cristyne, tell them about your cryptid page you have on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. I have my own cryptid page. I was hoping to have more conversations on there about cryptids. It's Cristyne Anne's Dogman and Bigfoot Encounters. We also have Cristyne Anne books. I'm going to try to do more giveaways as I open up my mailbox for myself. Hi, you too.
Hello, I'm back. I had to take a break.
And,
hey B, I got a real special person that joined us tonight in the live chat. His name is Phil Stern. Phil Stern, you know him, right?
Is he a researcher?
Yeah, well, he's he's from Dogman Werewolf Discussion. He's an administrator there. Yes.
I'm gonna have to join. I've heard of that group. I'm gonna have to join that group. I'm part of so many groups. I'm gonna have to check him out.
Yes. He's from Germany.
You should reach out to him.
Oh yeah. We're good friends. We talking on regular.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I asked him if he could be here tonight, and he came. So I'm like, yeah, man, good job, man. Yeah, thank you, buddy.
Yep. That is awesome. I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, he knows everybody in the NADP and Josh Turner and all them.
Really?
Companies. Yeah, he knows them. He's like real good friends with them, with everybody.
I didn't have any Dogman experiences when I was in Germany, but I have a friend who lives on top of a mountain there, and she had a very frightening one. And it wouldn't have been as frightening, I think, if her house wasn't made almost entirely of glass.
Right. I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I've heard like from some of the scarier encounters where some people were talking about they were in some cabin and it had like a sunroom where most of the it was a lot of windows in there. And my mother, in the house she lived in where I had all the encounters at, she had a sunroom at first. They didn't have any blinds or anything like that up. And I'm like, Mom, I said, y'all got to cover them windows. And I said, there's Dogman back there. And her and Daddy looked at me and they was like, are you crazy? They don't believe in it. Yeah. And so they said, you really think that? You really believe that, don't you? I said, yes, because I know that they actually exist. I think that these things are, I know that they're real. I'm not even going to sit up here and play. I mean, I know that they're real. So I said, y'all please cover those windows, because every now and then, if they had a lot of company over there, if I'm at their house and the people that were staying there were sleeping in the bedrooms, I had to sleep in the sunroom. And so they never would take me serious about it. So one day I just came up with this story. No, it was true, but I said, you know what, Mom? I said, y'all got all this equipment down here. Y'all got the computers and everything down here in the sunroom. You never know who's like roaming around and watching. And look, what if somebody comes up and they looking through the windows? Y'all need to cover these windows. And Mom was like, you know what? You're right. I hadn't brought up Dogman to her in a while. So she finally covered the windows because of that. Like, if you only knew it was back there watching, you wouldn't be wanting these windows open like that. It's ridiculous. And I hate it. I hate it when they crack them open in the summertime. I hated that.
Oh, me too. I absolutely. So why don't you sleep with your door open? Like heck.
Yes, I hated it. I hated
no way.
it. Right.
You want me to? No, no. I'm sorry. It's not happening. Well, like I was telling Josh, I need to get back to the birthday party. It's time to cut the cake.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Anne, for being with us tonight and sharing your encounters. Thank you. Too bad Phil got here kind of late on the live, but I'm sure he can check it out.
Go back and watch the replay.
Yeah. So
they're on Amazon. Phil and can contact me if he wants. You can give him that. Make sure you give the information to B so she can friend me.
Yes.
Explore a little bit more with the Dogman on her.
Yes. And the other stuff we were talking about too. I got to hear more about that. And I want to share some of my pictures with you. I mean, because that is just amazing to me.
Yes, y'all gotta have one of those little woman on woman talk.
Yes, it's too deep.
Right. Yeah, because I kind of feel out of place right now with that.
Right.
I am who I am. Like I sometimes get feelings and I go with
them. Hey, I had one more. I'm sorry. Go ahead, B.
No, I was just joking on you. Said you ain't ready for all that. It's
yeah, no, that's too much estrogen for me. Hey, I have a question. I did have one last question for you, Anne. Do you have any more pictures you can share with me besides the one you sent me? The two that you sent me. There was a Dogman one and there was a Bigfoot one.
Yeah, I have 30 right now.
You have what?
I have more that I can send.
Yes,
like
please.
I said, Brad is always sending me stuff, and I'm so grateful to him. He's a great person to partner with this experience. He's dedicated a lot of time and effort. What does surprise me is when he says he attracts paranormal, he has no idea how much he attracts it. I've looked at his pictures, and you can look at them too, both of you. Every once in a while, you see fairies in them.
Okay.
And these fairies come in different colors. Now, he had his first Dogman experience at 3.
What?
And he had no idea. Brad D. Kid, the guy who did all my pictures. He had his first Dogman experience at 3. And I think that's why he remembers it. Because he rolled off the bed and rolled underneath it, and that's where he was asleep the next morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, have you heard of how they try to lure kids out of the house? What do you think about that? Like, why do they tap on windows and stuff? What are your thoughts on that?
Sometimes I think the children aren't being cared for properly, and if they see that, then they might take them. I don't think they look at children as a food source. There's been one too many times when a dog person's brought back a lost child, but I think that if the kid is just in the yard or something and they see them, that there's always a possibility they might think that they don't have anyone caring for them, and so they take them to take care of them.
Okay, so that makes sense. I understand that. I had another question, but it kind of went away. Carlita, go ahead.
Yeah, let me ask this too. Also, well, if we do get the pictures from you, and would it be okay for us to share them on our groups? Giving you credit, of course. Your name.
Need to give Brad D. Kid the credit.
Okay, Brad D. Kid. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I seen the name on the picture. Yeah, it was on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. Well, I mean,
It's a
but we
shame
gotta
that
have your,
with the amount that he hasn't
right.
made a fortune. I could do a coffee book.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what I was saying, we gotta have your permission too. You know what I mean? Because you're the one sharing it to us. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Of course, I don't have a problem with that. Just let me check with Brad first. He'll probably be over the moon happy because he has his own site too. I just remember what it's called.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, let us know, and like your group also. I think we're gonna try to join your group. So you can be in cahoots with us on our groups.
In the loop. Yeah.
Yeah. In the loop. There you go. In the cryptid family that we got going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. If someone had told me, 5 years ago I'd be writing about cryptids, I would have laughed in their face. But I had no idea the impact they could have on your life.
Right. Hey, I got one question from Damien Casey. He says, "Can we see some pictures tonight?" Do you have one picture on your phone that you can show us or show the audience by any chance?
I'd love to, but I don't know how to work my way out of this.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, yeah, I got you. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
If you have the one they sent you,
I
can you
have
get
the
them?
one. Yeah, I have the one you sent me. Let me check it out real quick, and I'll show it to him.
Because that picture sent chills down my spine at how perfect it was.
Okay.
Wow. And what are you going to show him? Like a Bigfoot, Carlito?
Yeah. Well, she sent me two. I think it was 2 or 3 of them. It was 2 of them. One is I think it's a Dogman, right? And
the first one should be a Dogman.
The first one?
First one's a Dogman. Yeah, you can see him over there. He's right next to the tree.
Let me remove the comment out of there. There it is. Okay.
It's right there.
Oof. Man, I can't get my damn camera. So he's right over here.
To the left of the tree?
Yeah.
Yeah, the left of the tree.
Yeah, so
now, is its
right
back turned to us on there? On this picture we're looking at?
Let me get it up.
Yeah. Nope, he's kind of looking at us.
His face
so you
kind
can
of
see the nose on that one.
Yeah,
that's one of the juveniles. It's not an adult.
Is its head angled down?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Looking at Brad. He's quite a bit cooler than Brad.
Sorry, I hit the lock screen. Okay, yeah. So he's right here, and it looks like that's his ear. Right.
And it looks like his head is angled down. It looks like you can see his brow ridge. His head is like down like that. If that's if I'm looking at it correctly, it looks like you can see his snout and the tip of his nose. Is he looking back over his shoulder, Cristyne?
Yep.
Because it looks like he's looking back like that.
Yes. There you go.
Is that what it's doing?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a great picture.
Yeah, it is.
So Brad took that one.
Oh my God.
I don't know this one's name though. But I think this is the juvenile male that just recently came.
She's got some great pictures.
That's wild. I mean, because you don't get good pictures like that often.
Right.
No, you don't. Like I said, they will pose for him. They will literally pose for Brad. I don't think he realizes how lucky he is. I'm hoping that will make the book and someone will I want to publish.
Yeah.
Those are some really fantastic shots. There's a few that are a little blurry, but you blow them up, you can figure out what they are.
Your pictures are better than most though, and I love looking at those pictures. Sometimes on some people's pictures it's like where's Waldo, and I've seen that myself, but at the same time, like when you look at these pictures when you put it is because people say that, but hers is not like that. It's like just right in your face.
Yeah, it's right there. He's just like this.
Yeah.
Looking straight at the camera like, what the hell?
It's like I said, the mom saw the baby up here. Take a picture.
Yeah.
We know how it is. Because they know that he's
it's almost as if he was looking away and that guy called his name and he just turned around and looked at him to take the picture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what the?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's had bad experiences too. He and his brother-in-law went down into a gore, or what we would call them here, a gore, and they were actually looking for something else, and they ran into some all white ones, and they tried to attack them. They barely made it out, and and he had one that stopped him in the road where he couldn't go.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So
Damon K said thank you. So I showed him that picture that you sent me. And there's more, and she's gonna send me more, guys. So I'm gonna post those, and probably hand a few to B so she can post some on hers. And a few to Tom.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna tell Cristyne. Cristyne probably already knows. Cristyne, when it comes to people in these groups, I had to like go full into a full like chopping heads off mode today because I don't play that when. Did you see it, Carlito?
Yes.
I don't play that when people come on there and like disrespect people's pictures and make rude and disrespectful comments. I just don't like that because they are part of the reason why people don't feel comfortable sharing their encounters, sharing great pictures they want to talk about. Well, it's blurry and pixelated, and like it's just my opinion, and several others too. But I just feel like that these cryptids have the ability to cause the pictures to turn out that way. I don't know if that's infrasound or what it is, but I don't think they want to be seen.
The dogmen don't like to get their pictures taken.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, I got a picture of one snarling at me because I was taking its picture.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was snarling at me. Well, let me see. What did Noogie say?
What did Noogie say?
They a hot mess in the comments tonight.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Noogie's one of our real good friends, Anne, and he does DJs on the weekend. He's a DJ, so he hardly comes. He hardly comes in our lives, but when he comes in our lives, he makes it funny as hell. He starts cracking jokes, and everybody starts laughing. He gives it a good time for our lives, right, B?
He does. He's a character. Half the time, like these are all our friends too, Cristyne. Like they're people that are members in our group, and we love them to death. And so when they have shows, we try to support them. When I have a show, Carlito has a show. I mean, we all try to support each other. Tom, North Carolina Cryptid Project. It's so many of us. Like we try. Sometimes it's hard to do because it's so many different groups. I mean, sometimes it's not going to work out because we do sometimes go live on the same nights, but we do the best we can. So we just really appreciate everybody when they do come out and show us support.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I subscribe, so I'll be able to get onto it more.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. And I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I did too.
Much, yeah.
Well, we're at an hour and 47 minutes. Thank y'all, everybody, for coming out tonight. We appreciate you guys. Did you have any closing questions tonight?
No, not really. B, just wanted to thank everybody, like always, for the continued support and always showing love to us. Even if it is 5 minutes, they could jump in here. We're not worried. We're not mad at you that you can't be more time or whatever. But as long as you come in and say hi and interact for a little bit and then leave, that's fine. It's cool as long as you come in. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of people always coming and leaving on the lives. That's why I mentioned that.
Sometimes people get tired. I told you I'm like not a real late person. Like usually I'm not up this late. Like last night I went longer than I've ever gone on that live. That was almost 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Wow. But it was a lot of good topics covered. Carlito tried to get me to stay on, Cristyne, on my live before this last one. He tried to get me to stay on that longer. I'm like, Carlito, I am tired. And another co-host came on the show and has said, you know what? You take it over from here. I'm out. I'm going to go outside and smoke.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to lay down after I have some of the cake I made. Yesterday was the first time I worked in almost 6 months. And the only thing that didn't hurt on me when I got home was my hair. So without further ado, I do want to say to all my readers, thank you for your continued support. Go ahead and befriend me on the two sites, Cristyne Anne Books or Cristyne Anne's Dogman and Bigfoot Adventures. I'd love to hear encounters. I love hearing from you. I do paranormal as well as any cryptid. We're opening it up for the next book for any cryptid. I know that a lot of you have talked to me about Mothman and there was another one, some kind of vampire out of the land between the lakes. So I'm anxious to hear more about these stories.
Yes.
Cool.
And
Hey,
Cristyne, I'm gonna
when?
send you a friend request, and I'm gonna go also
Yes,
share some pictures and stuff with you, and we're gonna join your group as well.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Also, I wanted to ask you, when exactly do you, if you have a date for your fourth book? Do you know?
I don't know. It has to go through the editor, and then it's going to be a drawdown between the two publishers who want to publish it, and pretty much which one's going to give me the much money
Mhm.
and long-term royalties. I'm
Okay.
because I don't have to just pay myself. I get paid Brad for his hard work.
Oh, okay, okay.
Absolutely.
Well, just make
Yes.
sure to
For
let us
me
know because I'm
personally,
waiting on that one. That one sounds very, very interesting. I mean, I know
I
I
think
can
it's
get
going
the
to be a
three, but
great
I'm
book.
waiting
I
on that.
honestly do. I'm proud of the work I did on
Yeah.
this one,
Hmm.
and I'm excited to get this one going.
Yes.
What I hope to accomplish. See, with all my other books, and probably this one too, a huge portion of my personal proceeds go to the
Hmm.
Mirror Fire Department or St. Jude's. So,
Oh, that's wonderful.
so I continue because my fire department here needs help getting their getting gear that they need, and I think maybe it's not just them; it's other local fire departments that are small like this. So if you can't support them, go out and support your own fire department because in the end, you never know, the life you save could very well be your own. As well as I
Absolutely.
always recommend to everyone, and not to
Hmm.
sound like a broken record, learn
Hmm.
CPR, learn first aid. It will benefit
Hmm.
you in the end.
You're
Okay,
absolutely
Yes.
enough of the lecture.
right.
Gotta get the
That's
medic
a
stuff in there.
Right.
that's a great closing statement right there, and
It
thank
is.
you.
I just feel
Appreciate
blessed
that.
to have so many loyal readers that
Right.
here the book's been out a year and I'm still moving product.
Well,
You
and now
know,
you have new friends. You have us. You know what
yeah, I have new friends.
I
Yeah.
mean? New friends, new groups.
Absolutely.
All right,
So okay.
so I'm gonna let you guys go because
Yeah.
my bladder is talking to me.
Okay.
I know. All right. Well, you have a good
All right,
night,
Christine.
Christine.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Have a
Thanks
good
for having me
night.
on the show. All right,
All
bye
right.
Alrighty.
bye.
Bye
See you
bye.
later.
Oh man, that was
Carly,
good. That was
that
good,
was
B.
good. That's really awesome. I'm excited about it. So
Yeah.
we thank all of y'all for showing up tonight. Tom was here earlier tonight. Noog the DJ,
Yeah.
thanks for showing up. Phil
Yeah.
Stern,
Bill
Marquetta, Steve
Stern,
Riley.
Steve
As a
Riley.
fact,
Yes.
I don't want to miss anybody because a lot of people was here. Just want to
Um,
shout out Damien K.
Eric Ogle was
Eric
here.
Ogle was here. I'm scrolling
Uh,
back up.
Marquetta.
And somebody's making
Bama BF.
I'm a Bigfoot. Yep. North
Mm-hmm.
Carolina Cryptid Project.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Whisper TV. Whisper TV. She was here also. She's a real big
Whisper
cryptid
TV.
fan.
Odessa. I don't want to forget about
Oh,
Odessa. 'Cause,
Odessa.
you know,
Yes, yes. Odessa.
that was
There you
my
go.
co-host for last night. I'm almost through
Mm-hmm.
scrolling to the top. It was quite a good turnout of people tonight. Like you said, Whisper
Yes.
TV. So
Yes.
I'm really happy about that. Paranormal Stories showed up tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
We had a couple new people show up.
oh, Abe Sears was here tonight. I forgot.
Abe
Abe
Sears,
Sears
yes.
was here.
Sergeant Abe, yeah. There was a couple new people here tonight that I've never seen, but
It sure was.
there was an alien guy too. I
Yes.
welcomed him. Yeah, did you see him?
Yeah, I did. Ether's Alien or something
There you
like
go.
that.
Ether's alien. Yeah, that's the first time he came in here. Yeah, exactly.
So, did you have any upcoming shows that you wanted to announce, or
No, I sure don't. I sure don't have anything announced till next week. You know, of course, we're gonna have another show next week. I just don't know who my guest is gonna be just yet. I got a couple
are
of
you
them
gonna
lined up, but
you
sorry.
gonna do it here on YouTube, or you gonna do Facebook, or both, or
I think I'm gonna stay with YouTube right now for the time being. Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
All right, guys, we love y'all, and good night,
Yes.
and
Thank
be
you,
ready for the
everybody.
next show. Oh, do so. There's
Oh,
an
did you have
update.
any? Did you have any
Yes,
closing comments? Yes,
there's an
or
update.
announcements? Uh
Yes, there's an
huh.
update. Scott Carpenter did update, and he did let me know that he will come on Friday's show. So
Okay.
y'all look forward to that. And so I'll be going live again next Friday. I am planning to have an all ladies only panel discussion. Once I get together, I'm just waiting to get like a group of ladies together. That's something I want to kind of have periodically we have more men in the field that kind of discuss cryptids. Not enough women coming forward telling their encounters. So I'm just trying to open it up for everybody to feel comfortable with doing that. So come join my group. And most of y'all have already in the group anyway, so I don't really even have to say that. But anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna tell y'all good night, and we'll see you again on the next show.
Yes, we'll see y'all again on the next show. You're thinking about next Friday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you, everybody, and thank you, Noogie, for coming in and making it fun, man, at the end, brother. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody. Marquetta, Obama, Phil. Phil just left just not too long ago. Thank you, everybody. Love all of you. Every single one of you. Thank you. Thank you for the support.
Noogie said Bigfoot baddies. Yes, Noogie, yes. I love it. You know what? I might call it that.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I like that. Buenas noches, Phil. Buenas noches, hermano. Que estés bien. He likes that Spanish. Yeah.
Oh,
all right. See y'all. See y'all later, guys. Good night, everybody. We're out of here. Voltron. See you later, brother. Thank you, Voltron, for coming, man. Tati, thank you. Thank you for being here, Tati. Thank y'all.
Good night,
Bye.
honeys.
Good night.